Hey, to celebrate the release of my debut novel, Dead Flowers, I wanted to make a quick video that would talk a little bit about some of the things that inspired the book. The first inspiration was a movie called The Weatherman.
My job's very easy. 2 hours a day, basically reading prompts. Every couple months, someone throws something at me. I receive a large reward for pretty much zero effort and contribution. The shakes and stuff are a reaction to that, I think.
Why would someone throw a shake at you? You just read the weather.
The Weatherman, written by Steve Conrad and directed by Gore Verbinski, is a movie that I really liked when I saw it back in 2005. But as much as I liked it when I first saw it, it stayed with me and I found myself thinking about it a lot until slowly over time, it became one of my all-time favorite movies. Starring Nicolas Cage as a Chicago area weatherman who's in the midst of a midlife crisis, even as his career is potentially about to take off with a new job on national television. The film really feels like a novel. It's pretty unashamed in its novelistic qualities. The narration is dense, the story meanders and deviates a lot, and it luxuriates wherever it pleases and sort of sits in moments longer than a lot of movies do. It has a lot of different things going on. It's an analysis of mid-grade fame, all the pros and cons, but there's also this really moving dynamic about being both a father and a son, feeling like you'll never measure up in either department, and the various aspects of midlife masculinity. The cast is fantastic, the pacing, the cinematography, the dark humor, it's pitch perfect, and it's something that I really aspire to emulate in the novel. The same kind of humor, I think, can be found in another Steve Conrad script called The Promotion, which is another movie that I really recommend. So The Weatherman, super underrated movie, you should go see it. Next up would be the Coen brothers and The Big Lebowski.
Are you employed, Mr. Lebowski?
Employed?
Is this your only ID?
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude. Your name's Lebowski.
Jeff Lebowski, the other Lebowski, the millionaire.
Coen Brothers' oeuvre dips its toe into noir a lot, from movies like Blood Simple to Miller's Crossing, The Man Who Wasn't There, Fargo, even Ethan Coen's collection of short stories, Gates of Eden, plays into the world of noir. For me, what was inspiring about The Big Lebowski was that essentially what it does is it takes a tried and true formula of LA film noir and in place of a grizzled detective, it puts at its center a protagonist that is so out of place that it subverts all of the tropes of film noir, and it really reinvents them in a way that's both refreshing and yet still just as satisfying as what's always worked so well in the film noir world. So for me, I took that idea and I tried to do the same with my book, Dead Flowers, in terms of putting at its center a has-been former child actor and thinking, what would that look like when you put a character that doesn't really belong in a film noir, and what would that be? Next up, I would list as an inspiration Chuck Palahniuk's Fight Club.
For 6 months, I couldn't sleep. And this is how I met Tyler Durden.
One of the things that I love about Chuck Palahniuk, especially in his debut novel, Fight Club, is how much his author's voice is like a punk rock song. His prose are dripping with this kind of cocksure attitude that's sort of unrefined and raw, and yet has this boldness and this energetic quality that makes it really catchy and cool. His work feels somehow stripped down and simultaneously packed with different ideas. I read a lot of Palahniuk when I was in my 20s, and for whatever reason, started kind of veering away into other authors, and it wasn't until I had actually written my first draft of my book that I looked at it and I realized the amount of inspiration that I think I took from Fight Club, just in terms of the narration and in terms of kind of his style of writing. After I started connecting these dots, I went back and I reread Fight Club, partially to see if it stood up against 25 years since I'd first read it, and partially to confirm my suspicion that Palahniuk's style had indeed left this mark on me that I'd kind of failed to notice until I'd written an entire draft of the book. Next up would be a little-known film called The Kid Detective.
I used to be loved. I used to be a kid detective.
We're all really counting on you.
I was so far ahead of the game. Like one day I just woke up behind.
This guy in my homeroom claims he practiced with the Mets. I need to find out if he's lying.
He's lying.
Super underrated. This came out in 2020, and I think one of the reasons that it was overlooked was the pandemic, amongst a bunch of other things. But it's one of the few movies where I rented it on a streaming site and had to watch it the next day again before the rental expired because I just liked it that much. Written and directed by Evan Morgan, and it stars Adam Brody as essentially this grown-up Encyclopedia Brown from those lovably cheesy books that we all read as kids about a preteen detective. But now he's grown up, he's washed out and bitter, and he's thrust into a real murder case, which is a far cry from the who stole the school fundraiser money and is my friend lying about playing for the Mets type of mysteries that he's solved, before. This movie hits this really narrow target of creating a world in which a kid detective from those old books could actually exist, but bringing him into a more realistic setting where he can be simultaneously a fish out of water and this kind of embittered character who's lived a life and is a lived-in character. And it's kind of a miracle because on top of that, it also adds these genuine stakes and this emotional depth that just really works, I feel. It's a subversion of the noir genre in a way that reminds you maybe of like Rian Johnson's Brick, but it never feels over-stylized. And Brody just finds these really interesting ways of making the character nuanced and relatable as a has-been who, like my character, feels like he peaked before puberty. So I recommend The Kid Detective if you get a chance, watch that. And if you like The Kid Detective, or you like Fight Club, or you like The Weatherman, or you like stuff like that, then hopefully you'll like my stuff too. I also want to give a honorable mention shout out to Sunset Boulevard, which was a film that inspired my book a lot as well. But I did a whole podcast with these two guys called I Like to Watch, and I kind of focused on Sunset Boulevard the whole time, so I figured you could watch or listen to that to hear why Sunset Boulevard was significant to me in my writing. But these other films and books I think you should check out if you get a chance, and if you get a chance, please check out my book as well. Thank you so much.